Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to the life of a virtual cargo pilot. Now, you may recall on our last flight in this series, we flew from here in Memphis, where we've stolen a space from FedEx, and we flew out to Phoenix as a test flight for the FlightFactor 777. Some of you, I got mixed reviews on it. Some of you like it, some of you don't really like it. I think some of it has to do with a lot of my viewers being Microsoft Flight Simulator users, and I understand that. But X-Plane being a really solid sim, and the fact that X-Plane 12 is coming out soon, which I think is going to rival Microsoft Flight Simulator in a lot of ways, I decided I'm going to go ahead and do this next flight here again from, inside X-Plane. But this time we're going to be flying the FlightFactor 767-300 freighter model. And this is definitely a better aircraft than the 777 is, and I just completed the full flight tutorial on this. So for those of you who are X-Plane users, take a look at that full flight tutorial if you're looking for any tips or tricks or anything like that. With all of that being said, today's flight is going to take us from Memphis, where we dead-headed back over to charter with Prime Air, and we're going to fly from Memphis out to CYHZ, which is Halifax. And this is going to be the first of 2 or 3 legs that is going to take us over to Africa for the Mac Air destination of the month. Now, if you're not familiar with Mac Air, it's a fantastic virtual airline that I started with some friends several years ago, 5 years ago as a matter of fact, and it is absolutely wonderful. The staff is amazing. I got some great friends over there, and they're just a great group of folks. And it's different than any other virtual airline. We allow you to fly different divisions all from a single profile, including cargo division here. And we also have a professional division that's very, very structured, requires you to take live check rides with an examiner inside online with you, and so on and so forth. There's just a lot of great features over there. So if you want to check us out, go over to macairvirtual.com and have a look. With all of that said, what do you say we get into the office and we get to work? Alright, you all know the drill by now. Let's take a look at this flight plan really quick. Memphis out to CYHZ, Halifax. We have our cost index set at 850 air distance, about 1,330 nautical miles. Block fuel set for 71,959. I just put it at an even 72,000 pounds. We're looking at Carson 7 departures. Not going to be runway 18 Charlie, I don't suspect, but we'll see. Carson 7 out to Hums, and then on course from there. Pretty straightforward stuff. Now, only 2 packs on board. I remember to fix it this time. 186,000 pounds of cargo, which puts us at 186,500 pounds for our payload. However, the payload loading manager for this aircraft does not let me get the zero fuel weight anywhere near this. So either FlightFactor's got it wrong, or it's wrong on SimBrief. If I had to guess, I'd say it's probably wrong on SimBrief. So our zero fuel weight's going to be a little bit lower than that. That's fine. It's not that big of a deal. There's our fuel. There's our takeoff weight. It's going to be lower than that as well. Not a big deal. Not too worried about it. That's the basics of our flight plan. Now let's get in there and get to work. Alrighty, folks. Welcome to the flight deck. You can see we've already got power on the aircraft. Let's jump down here and finish setting up our FMC. Performance initialization page. You can just click on gross weight. It's going to throw it in there for you. If you don't want to do it that way, you can use your EFB. Go to your general page, or not your general, your ground page. You can get your zero fuel weight from here, which you can see is quite a bit off from what we have in the FMC, or not the FMC, the flight plan. But it is what it is. We're going to deal with it. Let me get this back out of the way here. There we go. So our reserves are scheduled for like 16,000 or something like that. I mentioned in the tutorial on this that I didn't really trust it. I'm going to try it. 16.4 I think is what it is for our reserves. Hopefully we won't have any VNAV issues. If we do, we'll square that away. 350 on the flight level for the day. Cost index is going to be 850. There we go. Go to our takeoff page here. And we're going to do flaps 15 for our departure. And we can turn these on for the moment. And what's our wind looking like? It's variable at 3 knots. So we're just going to leave it as is like that. Our runway slope is going to be up 0.63%, so we'll go U.63. I'll probably just put it at 0.6. There we go. Go back over to this page, and center of gravity 20%, 5.2 on the trim, 152, 154, and 162. That takes care of setting up the FMC. Alright, so our pre-flight checklist then, we're going to jump up here to the overhead really quick. EEC switches need to come on. That's both of these guys right here. On the hydraulic panel here, we want to make sure that these two, the primaries, are on. The rest of them are going to be in the off position right now. We've got our external power on right now. We're going to go ahead and bring the APU on while we're here. So put that to the start position, put the APU gen on. That's going to get that bad boy fired up for us as well. Passenger oxygen light needs to be off. Emergency lights need to be armed and guarded. Don't mess with the ram air turbine. You don't need to. Put both of these to auto. We're going to leave the, actually we're just going to go ahead and put fuel pumps on right now as well, because we're going to be starting engines pretty soon. Verify your fuel quantity, 72,000 pounds, looking good there. Don't need any anti-ice. Red anti-collision light can come on. Window heat is on. Don't mess with the fuel jettison. You don't need to. We can put no smoking and fast seatbelt signs both to auto. Auto rate controller to that little guy right there. And what is our landing altitude? I don't think I grabbed it. Landing altitude is going to be 477 feet, so 450 is going to be the closest, I think. Nope, 470 looks like. There we go. Put that to 470. Set this guy to auto. And we're good on equipment cooling. We don't need to do anything with the lights. We can go ahead and lock the flight deck door now. All of these guys need to go to auto. There we go. Trim air, left and right recirc fans come on. Packs can go to auto right here. Isolation switches, all three of those need to come on. And all of the engine bleeds need to come on as well. Alrighty, we'll jump down here real quick. Get our flight directors on both sides. We go ahead and we said 162, so I like to go 10 higher, so we'll put this at 172. This can go all the way up to 350. Pretty sure we don't have any altitude restrictions on our departure. I'll double check it, but I think we're good to go there. We can arm the auto throttle here as well. Set the auto brake to RTO here. Alternate stabilizer trim switches have been checked. Speed brake lever is down. Reverse thrust levers are down. Forward thrust levers are closed. Flaps are set to 0. Parking brake is set, right? Yep, still set. Good. Stabilizer trim cutout switches are guarded and closed. Fuel control switches are in the cutoff position. And that pretty much wraps it up. We haven't turned on the terrain switch. I'm not going to turn it on anyway. The only thing left to do is put on the HSI traffic switch, and that takes care of our pre-flight checklists. Alright, we're just about ready to push back here. I'm just setting our initial runway heading. Is that some lightning I saw? I think it was. Flight deck door is locked. CDU is taking care. Now it's saying the flight deck door isn't locked again. Which way is locked? That should be locked right there. I have no idea what this flight deck door, it drives me a little bonkers. Indicated airspeed bugs are set. That's these guys over here. They're set automatically by the FMC, thankfully. We're on speed selection. Initial heading is set. Initial altitude is set. Doors are all closed up. And so now we can hop up top here. And the right electric pump needs to go to auto. That's this guy here. Then C1 and C2 come on. Then the left. Then the center. And we're good there. Red anti-collision light switch is already on. Back down here. Pump the recall switch really quick. Make sure there's nothing on there you don't expect to see. It looks good. I'm good with that. And then we want to check the trim. Because we brought that the hydraulics in, we can actually adjust that now. So 5.2, I'll zoom it in for you here. So there's 5 right there. So probably right about there. Looks good to me. Zoom that back out. That takes care of our before start procedures. And now we're ready for the engine start. So let's ask for the pushback. Alright, so we're ready to push here. Let's jump back up top. Make sure that our packs are off. Alright, before we start with engine number 1, let's go ahead and continue with the pushback here. A little better pushback. Oh, I think I said stop. They just said to release the parking brake, right? There we go.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
Alright, starting with the left engine, ground, looking for 15. Doesn't take super long. There we go. Introduce the fuel. Alright, looks like N1's getting ready to stabilize here. Let's go ahead and take care of engine number 2. Same thing, looking for 15 on the N2 down here. Alright, let's get that parking brake set for them. There we go, they'll disconnect. I'm going to let the engine start up finished, and I'll be back on here momentarily. Alright, while they're disconnecting out there, let's jump up here and start taking care of
Tow is
this up.
disconnected and bypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time and have fun up there.
APU can come off, anti-ice switches, we checked those. Pack selectors back to auto. There we go. Left and right isolation valve switches both go off. APU bleed air switch goes off as well. Status display, we want to check that. There we go. And we're just checking to make sure everything's as it should be. Flap lever, flaps are going to go to 15. There's 1. There's 5. There's 15 right there. We can do our flight controls check. Full left, full right, and neutral. Then all the way up, all the way down, and neutral. And then all the way to the right, and all the way to the left on the rudders, and neutral. We're good to go there. Transponder has been set back here, and it should it's not on TARA yet. So let's put that on TARA. There we go. We'll leave it at 2000. That works for me, and we can hit traffic on here. There we go. TA only. Fantastic. Taxi light can come on. Logo light will stay off. And we are ready to taxi. Alrighty folks, we got everything good to go here. We're going to taxi out to runway 9. It's not very far. Let's go ahead and get those brakes off. There we go. We'll start taxiing out here. See, told you it wasn't a far taxi. Let's make sure we got everything set up here. White anti-collision lights come on, wing lights can go on as well. We don't need the runway turn-off lights. Taxi lights can go off, landing lights are going to come on. And that is everything for our before takeoff checklist. Let's get her out on the runway. I know you technically turn the landing lights on when you actually pull on the runway. It's just a little easier to do it quickly so that I can pay attention to what I'm doing here. Alright, no traffic showing up on the TCAS. Doesn't look like there's anybody inbound. Let's get her out here on the runway.
09.
We're not super heavy, but we're a little heavy, so we're going to use as much of the runway as we need here. Really didn't want to make that turn, did it?
On runway 09.
Yeah, let's get them up to 60% stabilized. Give or take a little. Pretty good right there. Toga. Love that sound. There's 80 knots. V1 and rotate. Alright, positive rate of climb gear coming up. zoom this out just a wee bit more here. We're on vectors right now. Let that nose start to come down just a little bit. Just try to trim it out. Don't want to be fighting with it. Alright, looking good here. So let's go over here real quick and let's replace our vectors with Lizzie. There we go. Execute that. And let's go get the autopilot on. And she'll go right into that turn nicely. And put this one on the progress page for now. And take it to flaps 5. Track iron coming off. Get the view that we can use here. Speed's looking good so far. About to come up on another setting of flaps. And go to flaps 1. And we'll go ahead and go flaps up there. Alright, we want to make sure that we're set to climb mode over here, which we are. You can see it right there. If it's not, just click on the CLMB button and we're good to go on that. Weather radar as required. We can turn it on for now. I don't know that there's any weather out there, but we'll put it over here to the map mode. And well, that looks like a lot of weather. I guess there's weather out there. I don't know if I agree with that entirely. Doesn't look that bad, does it? Either way, there's our weather radar. Landing lights can come off here once we get above 10,000 feet. We'll mess with those then. Same thing with the seatbelt signs, and then we monitor the fuel flows, and that take care of our after takeoff checklist. And that means, ladies and gentlemen, you guessed it, it is time once again for some obligatory elevator music. Alrighty folks, we're just a mere 30 nautical miles from top of descent. I've already actually gone ahead and adjusted this to 10,000 feet. And that's because I actually started recording this and then had to come back and like redo it because it just was a mess. So I've got that set to 10,000 feet just to get us started on the descent. What I want to do really quickly is show you our arrival and then show you our most likely approach. So our arrival is going to be the Halifax NS arrival. No, that's not what it's called. What was this thing called? Fundy 5, there we go. I don't know why I couldn't find it. Fundy 5 arrival. We're going to come out here to Alex, down to Movox, and then from there, it all has to do with the approach. So the only thing I'm concerned about here is when we get down into this area, we're going to need to be at 5,000 feet with a max speed of 210 knots. It's going to depend on which runway we're landing on. Most likely we're going to be landing, I don't know why I'm trying to take that away. Most likely we're going to take ILS runway 14. We'll see if that pans out. So assuming that the ATIS is 121.0, radio on 23.275, Halifax terminal, any one of those three, tower on 18.4, ground on 21.9. Localizer frequencies 109.1 with a final approach course of 143 degrees. Glide slope intercept at Imano, 1,810 feet. ILS decision altitudes down below. Airport elevation 477, touchdown zone 441. So minimum safe altitudes in the area. I don't think we're going to have any issues with those. For a missed approach, we're going to climb to 3,000 feet, heading 143, which is the same as the final approach course. And then 12 nautical miles from IHZ, which is the identifier for the ILS, we're going to bang a left and turn direct to the YHZ VOR over here. So not too difficult. Transition altitude 18,000 feet. Scroll down here to Mono. We're going to come down. It's a procedure turn. We may or may not need to do the procedure turn because motor is something we can grab off of the arrival, and that's kind of my intent. So I don't think we're going to do a procedure turn. We're just going to come up here from motor to teeter and on in from there. I haven't even set it up yet. It doesn't look like there's any PAPI lights or anything. I forget what the different terms are for these. I did a whole video on it, but man, it's a lot of information. So ILS decision altitude is going to be probably 200 feet for us, and I think we'll be good to go. So that's what we're planning on right now. If it changes, I got two conflicting weather reports. One was for runway 4, gave us runway 14 as the best runway. The other one gave us runway 5. So we'll see how that works out. But if you look on here, you'll see, so 5 would be this nice long runway, and then 14 is a little shorter. I'd prefer to take 14 anyway because it'd just be more fun to land on that shorter runway. So we're going to see how that works out. Now, all of that being said, let's finish getting set up for the descent here. We are 6 nautical miles from top of descent, so we can go to 5,000 feet. So that's what I'm going to set this at right now. That's the only altitude restriction that we really have to worry ourselves with. If I can get it to settle at 5,000 here. There we go, 5,000 feet. LNAV, VNAV are going right now, so let's go down here. And this might change our top of descent, but we're going to put it in there anyway. So departure and arrival, we've already got the arrival in there. ILS 14, transition at motor. Execute that, go to our legs page real quick, just progress page. Yeah, top of descent stayed the same, so that's good. So then it's BAFD, which looking over here, BAFD, no, it should have still gone to MOVOX. Did that change? It looks like it got rid of it. I hate when it does that. BAFD, yeah, so I guess it's going to go BAFD, and then it wants to go straight to motor. But I don't want to do that. I want to put MOVOX back in there, so we're going to do that right now. MUVOX, right? Yeah, MUVOX. So I'm just going to put that back in there. It's going to put another discontinuity. We'll put motor after that, execute that, and then we can see here we're on our descent now, so it's working out just fine. Whether or not we're on, yeah, see, we're spot on for our descent. So no problems there. It didn't cause any issues, so that's fantastic. Let's let me just pop up the checklist over here. So we've got the arrival installed in the FMS. We haven't set the nav radio yet, so we can do that really quick. It should be this guy here. So we said it was 109.1, correct? Yep, 109.1. So that's this guy right here. 109 down to 1. There we go. And then final approach course is 143 degrees. Yep, keep going. There we go, 143 degrees. That takes care of that there. Now just keep in mind, it should automatically go up here as well because we've got this set to auto. We'll see how that works out. I think we're good to go. And then our decision altitude, which should be this one here, is 200 feet. Put that right there. What else we got here? Let's take a look at this checklist. Tuned. We haven't selected landing flaps yet, so we can go ahead and do that now. We all know by now it's probably going to go down by 1 knot. Assuming we're taking the shorter runway, I'm going to do full flaps. 158, and I'm actually going to just change that to 157 because I have a feeling it's going to adjust anyway. Oh, it won't let me do it that way. Well, let me do, I've never tried it on this one, 30/157. Let's see if it'll let me do it. Ah, it doesn't let you do it here, huh? Really? Oh no, it did. I was clicking on the wrong spot. I was clicking up here, wasn't I? Dirt. Way to go. Okay, so the ILS is tuned in there. The final approach course is tuned in there. We've got our landing flaps selected in the FMS. The VREF has been entered, decision height has been set, and the auto brake, if we're landing on that short runway, we're going to use auto brakes 4. I don't think we need max auto brakes. Those max auto brakes will work, let me tell you. And that takes care of our descent checklist, so we're going to continue on in, and when we're on the approach, I'll come back on here and we'll have another chat. Alright folks, as you can see, we're almost to motor here. I'm going to take control of the speed because it's still just going too fast. I kept hoping it would slow down because I put out that first setting of flaps, but it's just not doing it. So I'm going to go ahead and slow down myself here. We'll be making the turn-in motor here in just over 4 nautical miles. Excuse me. And we can throw another setting of flaps out there now. We should be good on that. Perfect. Go ahead and bring those spoilers back up. And why do we have only one throttle working here? That's interesting. So it's like my auto throttle just decided to stop working altogether. Speed hold. Let's see what happens here. It's always something. May hear some banging around. That's going on upstairs. Alright, gear is down, 3 green. We're currently at flaps 15. We're going to be landing flaps 25. It did change. It went to 160. When I tried to put it in, though, when I selected it, stayed at 159 down here. So I'm assuming that has something to do with what I did. But actually, that's not the flap setting I want, is it, for runway 14? Runway 14, no. We want the... we want full flaps here is what we want. So we're going to go with this. I think it's because I made a change, so whatever. Alright, let's go ahead and... oh, the VNAV went away. Look at that, VNAV just disappeared on me. Localizer, armed it, grabbed it right away, hit the approach switch. We're underneath where the glide slope is, so it's not going to grab that right away. Let's bring that speed down a little bit more. Let's bring it down to 180 here. We're shooting for... that noise is my 2-year-old playing around upstairs. We are shooting for 168. So next setting of flaps coming in. That's going to put us to flaps 20. And we should hit the glide slope here any minute. We can change this if we want to the approach mode. There we go. And glide slope capture. Next. Oh, it didn't like that. We were a little over speed for that one. Let's get this down to 168. Right? No. 163. There we go. 163. Get to the proper view here. Tracker coming on a little jump here. Boom. I'm gonna have to center that up, no doubt about it. Well, that's a pretty view though, isn't it? Nice little crosswind here, not too strong, but it's there. Alright, last setting of flaps coming in. That should put us at full flaps. Let's go ahead and arm the spoilers now. There we go. And I'm going to take the auto throttles off. And I'm going to take control of the throttles myself. We do not need that much throttle. Alright. Just watching my thrust for the moment first. So just trying to get settled here. Make sure I'm where I want to be on that. Just a little fast here. Slow her down. I've got like dome lights on, but I can't seem to get them off. I don't know what light it is. Like this is the dome lights. That's all the way off. That's on. See, that looks brighter than that. I don't get that. How's our speed looking here? Speed's a little high. Let's bring those throttles back a wee bit more. Let's go ahead and take the autopilot off here and fly this bad boy in. There we go. My airplane. Yeah, the light's just really bright in here, so that's something I'm going to have to mess around with at some point.
Approaching 1-4.
Alright, no pappy lights on this one, so we just have to stick with our glide slope there. We can turn that weather radar off at this point. We don't need that right now. There we go. That's just getting in the way. Descending a little quick there. There we go. Looking pretty good. I maybe pulled it up just a bit too hard. So we got just a touch above the glide slope there. Alright, let's listen to our call outs and take her in.
500.
Terrain.
Short runway, so.
Terrain.
100. 50. 40. 30. 20.
Long landing.
10.
Long landing. 5,000 feet remaining. 4,000
Touchdown.
remaining. 3,000 remaining. 2,000 remaining.
Wow. I couldn't get that thing to touch down for nothing. Wow. That was dangerously long, let's be honest about that one, guys. Ended up being alright, but and it was smooth as silk, minus 54 feet per minute. So I mean, I buttered it in there, but ooh, that was dangerously long. That was not good. Let's bring those flaps up. Let's get those spoilers back. Flaps should be coming all the way up. Get those landing lights off. 1, 2, and 3, and the white lights can come off as well. And let's go ahead and start the APU. Ooh, that was probably one of my most dangerous long landings there. So not very good, but either way, we're fine. APU generator's on. We started the APU, so we're just waiting for that to come on. We're looking at the after landing checklist now. Exterior lights are as required. Flap lever is up. Transponder needs to go to standby. We'll get that here real quick. There we go. Transponder on standby. Let's get a little thrust in there. We can take the flight directors off here. We don't need those anymore. Fantastic. What's that telling us there? APU gen off. Yeah, we need to turn the auto brakes off as well. APU gen, it's on right now. What are you talking about? You are a liar, liar, pants on fire. Cycle it. I don't know why my head's bouncing around. There we go. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and taxi in, folks. I'll see you back here momentarily when we get her parked at a gate. Alrighty, folks, we found us a parking space here. Let's go ahead and get things shut down. Jump up top here, just make sure that the APU is up and running. It is. You can jump all the way back here. Let me see if I can find a view that works. There we go. Turn off the engines, 1 and 2. That's fuel controls coming off. It's going to put us, you see all that flickering? That's because we're switching over to the APU now. So that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Alright, moving on here. Just looking at my checklist really quick, make sure I don't miss anything. Okay, flight directors are already off, flaps are already up. We do need to jump onto our EFB over here, and I'm just putting the chocks in, bringing the stairs over, bringing the GPU up. We're going to need a fuel truck. We're going to need the AC unit, the loader unit. Those are all coming over right now, and we should be good to go. Those will be here momentarily, and then we can go ahead and open up the doors with that as well. So go over your airplane, open up all your doors. Ah, they're unloading the plane now. Fantastic. You guys didn't see me doing that. I was just messing around with the EFB over here. I might cut that out. I don't know yet. What else we got to do here? Let's hop up to the overhead. So we did turn off our taxi lights. We can turn off the red anti-collision lights. Wing lights can come off as well. And what else? Fuel pumps. All of those can come off. These guys can go off because we're done with those. We'll put that to both for now. The window heat can go off. Trim air research fans, those can go off. And packs will stay on for now because we're going to remain in the aircraft. We'll put the APU bleed on, and the isolation valve switches can both go on as well. Everything else is pretty much good to go. We don't have to turn everything off. We're not going back to cold and dark. So if I just take a look here real quick at my checklist, APU selector started. APU, we are on the APU right now. Ground power is not quite available yet, so we're going to stick with the APU. Seatbelt selector, I never turn those off. I'd be like the worst captain on an airplane, wouldn't I? Hydraulic panel's good as is. We're just going to leave it like that. And the fuel pumps are good. Position light switch is good. Left and right isolation valve switches are good. That takes care of our shutdown checklist, and that means That's going to wrap it up for this one, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if y'all know this. I'm sure you don't. This is actually a default airport. I didn't do an ad on here. This airport's pretty nice. So just something to keep in mind. But this is a good little flight. You know, so like I said, we're making our way over to Africa. I'm having a really hard time doing that, flying in that Captain Sim 777. I know a lot of you kind of want to see it, and if I really have to, I'll do some more flights in it. But honestly, there are just better aircraft out there. I'm liking X-Plane. I really like the fact that when I bought this, it's a free upgrade to X-Plane 12 when it comes out. But I will tell you, for those of you who are Microsoft Flight Simulator fans, X-Plane is really good, but there's a learning curve there. It's a switch, so, and going back and forth gets a little difficult sometimes. But overall, I'm having a great time. I enjoyed the flight, and I hope that you guys did too. If you did enjoy it, in fact, do go ahead and give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. I would appreciate that very much. That's it. That's all, and no more, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, as always, keep the blue side up, unless otherwise instructed by ATC. God bless you all, and have an absolutely fantastic day.